So today, originally, I was going to be telling a story of the one time the players went to the Abyss, but then I was like, well, that story needs some context to explain why the characters all hated each other. I realized, well, hold on, wait a second, that story also needs context and some more, and I started writing, and then by the end of it, I realized, God, this by itself is going to be a full story. So anyway, I'm going instead to be telling the story of Asiago, and all the time she fought with the rest of the party. I have a theory that most groups I play with fit on a chaotic to orderly scale. Whenever I suss out a group, I can usually organize by whoever is going to be running around doing whatever they want, and the others who will be trying to put out the fires that they are creating. The thing you have to understand about players is that they're basically infants. Dangerous infants with nuclear weapons on their back, who will hurt everything they come into contact with, including themselves. And if something bad happens to them, they will cry and will not be happy about it, and it's your responsibility as the GM/parent to make sure they don't get into too much trouble. And remember, players, unlike adults, lack object permanency. You put something in front of them, seconds it's not on the table, it's like it never existed. We then move over to introduce Asiago, who was a cook, and her casting implement was a giant ladle, and her mission was to eat everything. Not lots of things, everything.
All I'm saying is, I just want to see what a person tastes like.
You want to cannibalize a person?
No. I don't even know what catabolized means. I want to taste. If we're fighting, and accidents happen, and someone's arm happens to get lopped off, I think it's perfectly fair to eat it. And besides, they aren't even going to be using it anymore.
That did end up changing the dynamic of our fights.
Oh, who are we fighting? Sahuagin. Sashimi.
We surrender.
Darn.
One of the things I didn't count on when I agreed to run a high-level campaign was the players spending most of their time in heaven. Which makes sense because from their perspective, no one can spy on them, they can't get watched, there's no assholes to jump them, so they can just chill with a bunch of angels playing their lutes, talking about the next phase of their plan is. However, if you don't remember, in my universe, the top of Mount Celestia is a bunch of baby harp seals on the rocks, the most innocent and pure creatures. This led to her wanting to eat the baby harp seals.
Aw, you're so cute. Just like a little button. I could just eat you right up. You mean that in a metaphorical way, of course, right? Why don't you just slide on up here next to this fire and I'll fatten you up with some nice soup. If the fire's so warm, why do I suddenly feel a cold shiver? Aw, that's nothing to worry about.
But the party didn't like that, because they were kind of yes in heaven and didn't want to piss off their angels. They had to restrain her every time they went there, which was a lot. This involved either our grappling barbarian using his ability to stop her from moving, or our warlock owl turning into a brass dragon and using a sleep breath on her over and over again. But she would still be able to teleport away sometimes. So, moving on to our Fey warlock Alabaster. His patron was Lady LaRue, who was the god of talking animals. He had more of a mother-son kind of relationship with her. She would contact him on occasion just asking, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he'd be like, "I'm fine, Mom." Alabaster, the good little straight-as-an-arrow warlock, didn't get along with her. "You're a terrible druid."
Why?
"You reverse the stream, flooding it with salt water and destroying the ecosystem there."
Well, you know, dying is a part of nature too.
All this led up to Owl the warlock had a magic son, Fuji the silver dragon. He was made from a boulder along the cliffside because Owl's at the level that he could just do that.
I hope I do you proud, Magic Dad.
Here you go, son. Have some funds and gold. You can use those for your new hoard.
Yay. Thanks, Magic Dad.
We cut over to see Fuji with his little cat bed type thing, and he's spreading the gold out as far as it will go and kind of pruning it. And then when he thinks it's ready, he jumps on top of it and rolls around in it. I like being a magic dad. One fateful day, Asiago was just kind of bored. When they were at a port, she was like, "I'm going to be planting magic beans and see what happens." And they sprouted a bunch of slods. The group fought and won, and that was what they thought was the end of that. Later on, after another mission was done, one of the players felt sick. And so like, that's weird. 5th edition doesn't have diseases. And so they took him to a cleric. And they found out that he was infected with a little tadpole, and that was wriggling its way out. And it's there that they learn that the way that slads reproduce is whenever they attack someone, they implant a little tadpole baby. And that little tadpole baby grows up into a big tadpole baby and chest bursts and then runs rampant. I was like, you guys killed all of the adult slads. And they asked, you mean all of the slads, right? We killed all of the slads at the port, right? So they then return to the port for it to be in pandemonium. Slads are everywhere, killing people. They stop it. It takes them a while to earn the trust back of the port. But ever since that day, the players had one rule, which was never, ever, ever let Asiago have anything chaotic again, because she will use it. Oh boy, will she use it.
Afterwards, she was like, hey, one of the beans made a geyser of wine. But no one said, hey, Asiago, thanks for the wine. Everyone's all like, oh no, dozens of people died. We're all sad now.
This wasn't even the first time. Before, she had used an item, made a griffin. The griffin attacked a woman. Oscar saved the woman. They got married, had kids. It was a thing. Flash forward to today. She's rooting around and they find a deck of chaos. What's a deck of chaos? It's a homebrew magic item that I've used on occasion where it kind of acts similar to like a deck of many things, but the effects only last one day, and also they're a bit more tame than some of the stocks in the main deck. If you want to peruse what the deck looks like, I'll post a copy of it here. There you go. I actually highly recommend it. I've had pretty good luck with it. I've used it in a few different campaigns. It's pretty great. Point is, once she had caused some trouble with it, they decided to confiscate it from her and not let her have it back. This led to her constantly scheming to get her deck of chaos back, which involved trying to lift it from people's bags and that not working out. Eventually, the party decided to give it to Fuji. Al explained, hey, I'm going to give this to your horde. Do not, under any circumstances, give this to Asiago. Okay, no problem, Magic Dad. And then Asiago goes up to him and tries to convince him to give it to her, and he goes, nope, Magic Dad says I'm supposed to keep it safe and not give it to you, because that would be bad.
Why does Fuji have to be such a good son?
We flash forward to one night much later. While everyone is asleep, Asiago slinks away, turning into a spider, crawling up to Fuji's room and sneaking inside. She gets caught, they have a brief fight, Asiago turns into a rat, he grabs the deck as a rat, runs around with it, she's trying to trap him, trying to get the deck back. From my perspective, this is one of those sessions where whatever I had planned is not happening. They're doing whatever this is. They're shouting at each other, dice are being rolled, I'm just there. The barbarian wakes up, runs into the room, he then decides, you know what, this deck's just too much trouble, and he just punches and destroys it. The deck of chaos then triggers a magical explosion, and in said magical explosion, I rule it's as if everyone in the area had just kind of pulled a card at once. The other two get something innocuous. The card she pulled was Epiphany, which lets her ask me, the GM, a card and get an answer. And she asks, where can I find another deck of chaos? And I say, in your head, you instantly know a place you can go to get another deck, and the rest of the table groans. Because she's going to go there and try and find one. It also didn't help that they were trying to hunt down a plot-relevant magic item that would have helped save the world, and they didn't know where it was, and so they could have used that, but it's fine. All of this to be background for, she had a little rivalry with the rest of the party when she cooked for them, and was like, everyone complains about Asiago's cooking, but when she helps the party, oh no, no appreciation. There's no people in this, is there?
Not that you can tell.
Later on, Asiago got downed, and they had to resurrect her. When she came back, she said,
when I died, I got to go to Fire Heaven.
Fire Heaven?
Yep, Fire Heaven. I talked to a guy there, and he said that that's where all the good little wildfire druids go when they die. Also, by the way, did you know that angels have red skin and horns? I didn't know that.